what's up, guys? This is SanchoWest, and this is the first ever, kind of semi-official, first ever CheckPoint Amigos podcast. And I got my other fellow amigo in crime, Mr. Dr.Bacon, in the house. Hello, Dr. Bacon.
Howdy, everybody.
Dr. Bacon, it has been a long time. What's the last time I've seen you? Dead Island 2?
Dead Island 2, yeah. Back when you ran me over with that car.
Yes, with the Back to the Future theme. God, that was a long time ago. That was almost about a year ago.
Almost, yeah, and you had to cut it because of the royalties for music. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thanks, Universal.
Yep.
Please don't sue us for saying your name.
Well, this is a new venture in my channel. Thank you guys for being awesome subscribers. We're well on our way. Basically close to 7,000. And you know what, Dr. Bacon? We're close to 1 million views, my friend. 1 million views.
That is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, you're part of it, you know? You inspire me.
I haven't been part of it in a while, so I feel like I kind of stepped back and you took care of all the work, and I just watch it. I'm riding on your coattails.
Well, now you're gonna be the relish to this big sandwich that we're making in this part of SanchoWest Gaming. How about that? Or the bacon. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today's topic is pretty much this podcast is going to talk about random things. We're going to try to keep it short and tolerable. If you're watching on YouTube, just put it on and tune out, or don't tune out. What I'm trying to say is don't focus on the screen because it's not going to be much. Due to copyright, I can't put fancy trailers or anything like that. So just relax, put it on for the mood. We're gonna be PG, right, Dr. Bacon?
We'll try.
We'll try. And I'm probably gonna make a SoundCloud for this, so that way you can have a nice little download. So this is the first venture.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna be awesome. We're gonna try to go all out. And this episode is all gonna be about comic books and movies, especially when it comes to DC and Marvel. So DC versus Marvel. There's a whole new venture that's about to happen, and Dr. Bacon and I always talk about this anytime we see each other. Dr. Bacon's, of course, in Texas, and I'm California. We're longtime friends, so it's a pleasure. Let's just get this started. What do you think?
Well, you know, first off, a lot of people are in the midst of arguing whether Marvel is better than DC, all this kind of stuff, and my point is, why are we arguing? We should be happy we're getting these movies to begin with, and on top of that, a lot of people are saying they wish Marvel had all the rights to all of their material so they could produce all of those movies. Well, I tell you what, if Marvel had all those rights, I could guarantee you we wouldn't have a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because they'd be working on Spider-Man, or they'd be working on their XMen movies. We wouldn't be getting all of these movies all at once right now. We should be just happy that we're getting so many comic book movies right now.
Well, that's an interesting thought, Dr. Bacon, and let's start off the topic right then and there. The one thing that I've noticed, that I remember talking to you a long time ago, you said that we got to be careful. We're at that point of comic book movies where it could go either way, and that you were kind of saying at that point that it was being very saturated to the point where it might fall on deaf ears, and that we might be reaching our end. What do you think right now is the comic book status? Like, where are we now? Like, has it changed?
Right now, in terms of film, we're mimicking what they've done in print. We're in the golden age of comic book film, and it's going to eventually end. Eventually, even if they continue to put out good product after product, people are just going to get to a point where it's too much of a good thing, and they're going to start to find other interests. Another genre is going to come in and start being the new big thing. And even if, it's hard to say if there's going to be a downfall. It's just more going to slowly fade while something else takes over. That's how I think it's going to happen, especially with now how the industry is very geek-driven. The industry is very much driven by the people who grew up reading these comics or playing video games or stuff like that. You know, we're the driving force behind it now. I mean, look at Joss Whedon. If he wouldn't have directed Avengers, we probably wouldn't have this big phase 2 that we're in the middle of right now, you know?
So let's look at the major players. There's Fox Studios, there's Paramount, and there's Disney. So those are the big players right now they're holding all the reins for all the Marvel and DC and Warner Brothers. I'm sorry, that's the fourth one as well.
Sony's got Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, and Sony as well has Spider-Man. So between all those studios, I mean, right now you're right. I mean, but here's the thing. Like every other superhero, there's always a fall. And we kind of touched on that right now. And look, right now, Spider-Man is going to continue down its own path doing all the Sinister Six. And then looks like X-Men is going to hit the Age of Apocalypse. And all the Avengers are going to hit the Age of Ultron. And then where are we going there? The Marvel right now is kind of has a leg up on hitting all the other secondary canon characters, especially now that Marvel has a nice little setup with Netflix as well, so they could do shorts and things like that. So, in your opinion, Dr. Bacon, who's winning the race? If you had to call it, like right now, who's winning right now the comic book movie race?
Oh, in the film race, it's hands down, it's Marvel. Sony's trying to keep up, and I think they're diluting themselves by making already a commitment to 2 more Spider-Man movies as well as Sinister Six, and Fox is trying to keep up with X-Men. A lot of people loved it. It was a great movie. I didn't see the great movie everyone said they saw, but it was a good movie. And so Marvel, they're following the formula, and what's working in their favor is how Disney has stepped in to basically show them the way. A lot of people were worried about Disney buying them, about Disney buying Star Wars, but my point was, look at what they've done with Pixar. Pixar basically showed them, stick to this kind of plan, whatever plan they're working on, which in their case, it's pretty much to sell things. They have a formula. Let's do this. Here's the movie with little hints of the next movie to keep you interested, keep you buying products. As long as they've got the right writers to keep us interested in that, they're going to keep going for a while. And so that's why Disney/Marvel's got the lead right now. Warner Brothers, we'll see where they go. Man of Steel, it was hit or miss. A lot of folks loved it. A lot of folks hated it. So I think a lot of what Warner Brothers has next is going to hinge heavily on Dawn of Justice.
Dawn of Justice. What do you think about that title?
I'm okay with the title. I'm okay with the title. I don't think it's a great title, but I've seen worse titles.
Yeah, like it could have been Man of Steel 2.
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. Oh, don't bring that up, man. Don't bring that up. Look, here's the thing. Now everyone agrees that Marvel is right now. They have the leg up on the movie front, but you would know this more than I do because unfortunately I don't watch television as much as I would like. But DC, I think DC is doing the right thing. They're kind of taking the slow and steady approach, but DC has something that Marvel doesn't, and that's the television front.
Right now, Arrow is so great. Season 1 was pretty good. Season 2, they kicked it up a notch. It was to the point where if you were to make an Avengers TV series, that would be what Arrow was this past season. And now with Flash coming out, and then the Constantine show you're going to have on NBC, and Gotham on the CW. Gotham, I'm a little hesitant for, but Constantine, I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait for the Flash. Every time I see that trailer, I get super excited about it. Granted, I liked Quicksilver's big scene in Days of Future Past. Anytime I see the Flash on screen, I get super excited. I cannot wait for the Flash or to see what they do with Arrow for the next season.
But I thought, doesn't Gotham have Fox? I thought Gotham was Fox.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Flash is CW. Sorry. The channels used to be the same to me.
But the way things are going right now is like, so DC has a television. Marvel, I think, is really struggling on the television front. I'm not a big fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I feel like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. just
Did you see the end of the season?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I kind of got turned off by it. I'm not going to lie, and I know a lot of people were saying, like, then why are you saying that it fell off? But I think it had the wrong play. It should have started off hot with all their big players. They should have had Samuel Jackson and all the other guys, all their agents besides Agent Coulson early on. That way everybody could be easier to buy into it. So, and I think the writing was kind of bad, and some of the acting was kind of terrible in the beginning of the season, just like in every series. But I think there was so much hype behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that I didn't really get it a benefit of the doubt. Should I give more of a benefit of the doubt there?
No. You have a great point there, Sancho. And I think part of their problem was it seemed like instead of writing a season, they wrote a film.
Right.
So it didn't really get interesting till the end of the season. Where if that were to be a film, that would be where the climax is. They didn't give a good build up for each episode. It was too busy building up to the end of the season.
Well, everyone is forgetting DC knows how to do television. They had a great run, of course, with Smallville.
Smallville was Smallville started off great, but they tapered off towards the end. And I really think that was all the changing of the writers, and then no offense to Tom Welling, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, but once he became an executive producer, to me that's a big no-no. When a main character becomes an executive producer on the show, that's a big no-no, because they're going to start to.
Well, that's usually the sign of the series.
Yeah. Smallville, it doesn't exist in the world of Arrow, so they're never going to go back to that, which is good, because the way they ended Smallville was pretty much crap. I'm sorry.
So let's go ahead and talk about the future between these two franchises before moving on from this topic. So Marvel, like we said, has everything going the right way. So let's talk about DC. This is going to be a big step for DC. We kind of hit on it earlier about Batman versus Superman versus Batman and Dawn of Justice, and we're all assuming that the next film after that is Justice League.
Right. It's, they haven't really said anything solidly yet, and I think that's good on their part, because Marvel has already said, Avengers 2 is coming out, then Ant-Man, then this, then that, Doctor Strange is already lined up, where DC is very much, we're working on Dawn of Justice. And we know there's other movies out there. We know they're down the pipeline. We know they have a plan. But other than the Dark Justice League, which is, I believe, still being helmed by Guillermo del Toro, they haven't really said anything. And I think that's good. They want to surprise us with their plan of attack and giving out these little nuggets of Dawn of Justice to see how we react. I personally don't think they should be giving us as much. I would have preferred to be surprised by seeing Cyborg in it, or even Wonder Woman. But I'm very interested to see how they progress with it and see if it really is a Justice League movie, or if it's just them kind of getting the idea to form the Justice League at the end.
Well, here's the one thing that a lot of people have this misconception, that it's really tough to make a good comic book movie. It's really hard to not only make us happy, the people that follow the canon closely, but to make it a mega hit in terms of the public. And I'm thinking right now, Marvel has an idea how to do that. I kind of just had a cram session for everything right now because I was falling behind. But I just saw Captain America today, Captain America 2, and that had a good mixture of spy espionage and comic book stuff. So it was a good mix of it. During the action sequences, that's when it got into the superhero stuff. But mainly the backstory on the backbone of it was, of course, Captain America fighting for freedom. At the same time, freedom comes at a price when it comes to like NSA type of stuff like that, the all-seeing eye. So I thought that was a great balance. And of course, DC has a great way of capturing that as well when they did with Batman. But here's the thing, with Superman, a lot of people felt like they missed the mark with the Man of Steel. I'm talking about not the public, I'm talking about comic book people. But one thing a friend of mine said, he said that people who follow comic books need to approach the movies as if they're their own comic book series and not based on anything. But that's kind of hard to do when the movies themselves are saying that we're basing this storyline or we're following this storyline, just like Days of Future Past.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what's the one thing I think the comic book movies is facing right now, and I'm thinking we are in the golden age. I think you hit the nail on. We could have just stopped that topic right there. We are in the golden age, and we need to be careful, because I'm not saying it's let's just enjoy the ride. I mean, you said it earlier. We just need to enjoy the ride. And I think we need to support Batman versus Superman, and no matter what happens with Zack Snyder, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm excited for Ben Affleck. I like the Batman, the Batmobile. I like the Batsuit. It looks like Frank Miller. It looks fantastic. I think it's going to be good. I mean, the only thing I just wondering how are they going to handle the combat between Batman and Superman.
Yeah, that's going to be one thing. That's going to be a crazy scene if they do something along those lines, whether it be an actual fight or it might just be a verbal fight. They come across each other. Batman's supposed to have already been established in this world, so maybe they kind of know of each other when it gets to that point in the film, and they're just going to, have some words and go at it verbally.
I have always had a question, and I'm glad you're here because I had this today when I was watching Captain America. How do you feel when you're watching or reading a comic? Because I don't read as much comics as you do. But how do you feel when you're reading a comic and you know these characters exist in the same world? And how come you don't say, like, I was watching Captain America today, and I was like, where's Iron Man? I mean, they mentioned him a lot. How come he didn't help Cap? How come where's Hulk? Where's Thor? So I know they all take care of their own business, but when it comes to dire need, I always have this question, and it might be a stupid question, might be a naive question, but how do you feel Answer that. Like, where are the superheroes in the same canon? Like, where's Batman during the whole thing of General Zod? Is he just saying, you know what, that's not my territory? You cover it, Superman.
Well, it's a good point you make, but the only way I can put it is somewhere out there in an alternate universe, someone's getting a movie of Batman where Batman is happening during the same time of Man of Steel, but they don't get the Man of Steel movie. Kind of like if you were to look at a comic book, look at a Man of Steel comic book and be wondering the whole time, what's Batman doing? When all you have to do is pick up that Batman comic. Oh, he's busy fighting Joker right now. He's not worried about this over here. He'll get to that if and when he can. You know, it's a silly answer, but yeah, you kind of said it. They're worrying about their own business.
That's true. I mean, it was nice. I mean, it would have been nice just to see like a little glimpse of Tony Stark and Captain America too. Just like a little blurb. That's all you need. And that's what I kind of enjoyed about X-Men. Before we move on from this topic, that's one last thing. I kind of enjoyed that about X-Men at the end. It was nice. It was a nice like bow to the entire series that we've had since the 90s, you know? It was a nice little bow to see all the familiar characters in their place, and I was like, wow, that's nice. And it just makes it feel more home. It just makes me feel better when I see familiar faces in familiar places. I mean, I felt very complete walking out of X-Men Days of Future Past.
One thing that worked for the film, which didn't work for me, was the inclusion of all those familiar faces. And I'm going to get into a little spoiler territory. Not too spoiler, but spoiler in terms of cast. And this is why I didn't enjoy Future Past as much as everyone else did. I went in expecting a sequel to First Class when it was more X4 and it featured the First Class cast. Because, I mean, even if you look at the cast, you've got, from First Class, you've got Professor X, Magneto, Beast, Mystique, and let's say Wolverine's cameo from the first one. Let's say he's part of First Class. You've got him coming back. That's 5 right there. And how many people did you have coming back from the original trilogies? Wolverine, Magneto, Professor X, Storm, Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Iceman. That's already more than the original cast.
Cyclops.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even counting their cameos. If I'm including cameos from the First Class, not even including cameos from the original trilogy, they're still outweighed.
That's a good point.
You know, so it seemed more. Granted, they wanted to fix X3, and we're all glad they did.
Oh yeah, that was huge.
I was just expecting a sequel of First Class because I liked the flavor Matthew Vaughn set up, and I loved the music that they used. And how can you not even hint at Magneto's theme from First Class when Ottman from the original trilogy kept throwing in teases? Hey guys, remember my original theme from the X-Men trilogy? Well, yeah, it's great, but I want to hear Magneto's theme from First Class because that really pulls you into the scene.
That's a good point. And what I was going to say was I kind of had this feeling when I was watching the X-Men Days of Future Past where I was like, this reminds me of Fast and Furious, how they were able to erase, like, they were able to explain Tokyo Drift and all that and bring it in a nice button. So I was like, all right, way to go, X-Men. Way to pull the Fast and Furious there and save the series, save the trilogy from save the series from an awful thing. And that's what I'm looking forward to, that hopefully Star Wars Episode 7 does and saves that series. But let's go ahead before we leave this topic. I have one thing to ask you. So I'm going to ask you to give a grade to the current franchises right now that's out, and then you just give me a nice grade or mark, as they say. So let's go ahead and start with the Big Daddy. Well, what do you think of the Avengers movie line? Give me a grade.
A+.
A+. Give me Superman.
B+.
Batman.
Do you want me to go? Do you want me to go with Nolan's trilogy? Because I mean, that doesn't exist anymore.
Just give me a grade right now where you see the superheroes right now in terms of their movie line, like where they're heading.
Oh, I hope A. I got nothing really to base it off of.
That's true. Spider-Man.
C.
X-Men.
C+.
Fantastic Four.
D.
All right. Next thing, what would you give the rest of the studios? Let's start with Disney.
A. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Sony. All right, that's a grade. Meh. That's a nice grade. And then let's go with, I guess Disney and Paramount are the same because Paramount's Iron Man. Yeah, well, Paramount. How are you doing with Iron Man?
Oh, I figured they're still the same. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, I figured that. Well, I mean, I think good skies are ahead. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm thinking if that does really well, then I think we'll see a Dark Justice League.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah,
That does really if the people accept the weird canon that this is like it's literally second tier type of stuff. So I'm excited to see what the people do. But I think they did it. They're doing it smartly. But any last words on this whole comic book DC Marvel before we move on to the news?
I think we should just be happy where we're at instead of arguing which one is better than the other one. I mean, it's fun to debate it, but we don't have to get into heated arguments. I've seen people like lose friendships over this kind of stuff, and like, guys, we're getting these movies. Why don't you be excited about that?
You know what? We all hope that one day. I'm really hoping in terms of Marvel that one day it goes into the Civil War, which will never happen. But that's my dream. That's my dream.
I want comic book movies to bring world peace.
All right, guys, we're going to take a little break. You guys take a little stretch, and we're going to take a nice little musical break. And when we come back, we'll cover some news. How's that, Dr. Bacon?
I like it.
All right, and we're back. It's just a little short little break for you to get a nice little stretch. Maybe get yourself a nice little ding-dong or Twinkie, whatever that tickles your fancy.
Ho-ho, yo, ho-ho.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to go hit up some news because this is what podcasts do, right? This is what podcasts do. You know, this is my first one. And I want to cover the news. I'm sure you guys want to hear my opinion. Don't forget, I didn't bring this up before, but it doesn't matter. So pay attention. Hit hashtag #AskAmigos for you guys to have any questions, so that way we have another episode. Our next episode we'll have some questions that you guys have, not only for me but for Dr. Bacon. I mean, I know most of them will probably be directed towards me, but give us something that we both could talk about. Hashtag #AskAmigos, be it Twitter or right on my Facebook wall. That way we could get to business. How's that sound, Dr. Bacon?
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so let's get in here the news. Okay, big news here. Reading Rainbow is back. Well, it's coming back. Reading Rainbow by LeVar Burton started a Kickstarter and asked for $1 million. And you know where they're at right now with 30 days left?
I think 3 million.
Yes, they're at 3.2 million.
And they extended it to hopefully 5 million so that they could even reach, Netflix and stuff like that, so they could extend their reach to children who should be seeing this show, which is a fantastic idea. And LeVar Burton, nothing but faith in you, nothing but respect.
That's the awesome thing that you could really tell that he's passionate, that he's not doing it for money. But their stretch goal right now is that if they get that 5 million, which they have 30 days left, which I'm sure they're going to hit, they're going to bring it to mobile phones like Android, game consoles like Xbox and PlayStation, and set-top boxes like Apple TV and Roku. So that is their stretch goal right now. And what's your thought on Kickstarter? I mean, Indigo, Seed and Spark, all those kinds of things. I'm kind of toying off the idea with doing that, but I've only donated a couple to Kickstarter. Have you ever done Kickstarter before, anything like that?
Yes, I have, and it's a great concept, but there's too many people who don't really need it, if that makes sense. I've seen filmmakers get on there and. I'm not going to drop names because I don't agree with what a lot of people said because I wanted to support the filmmaker. But there was someone who used to be famous for a TV show he did, and he wanted to make a movie. And so he went on Kickstarter because to raise the funds to make the movie, where a lot of people were like, you're a movie star. How do you not already have this kind of money? And it's a double-edged sword either way. You don't know how much money's going into it. We don't know how much money he actually does have from being a TV star. But there are folks out there like that where you don't really need other people's money. You can fund it yourself. You're just afraid to make that investment with your own money. You'd rather trust strangers' money.
Right. Well, I mean, there's some good things that come out of these kind of type of crowdsourcing. I mean, we had that Veronica Mars movie. I just think that if this shows that if there's a really good cause, I mean, I know this is a very cliche commentary on it, but it's Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow is a fantastic one. I totally support that. That's a great idea. There need to be more things like that on Kickstarter or Indiegogo for us to support the real causes out there that need to be supported by the community and the public.
Yeah, so on that note, way to go, LeVar Burton, way to go.
Yeah.
Using that Star Trek, you're taking advantage of all the Star Trek fans and all this. You can't, anything from the childhood days you can't deny. I mean, there's something that strikes a chord in you in that you're just like, here, $2, $5, there you go. And it's amazing. I just think that's an awesome way that all this, and not only that, I mean, there's video games could come from it. I mean, what was it? Harmonix did Applitude. Amplitude that raised about 800K, 850K. So that's what's awesome about that. So I just wanted to bring that out to you. If you guys haven't donated, do $30, 30 days left. So just donate $1 or $2 to Bolivar and help out Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow is a great cause to support, but you don't have to take our word for it.
Nice. And that's a nice segue. Let's talk about this big news. Red Dead Redemption has been announced by Take-Two as a permanent franchise. The CEO, Strauss Zelnick, noted Red Dead among the company's permanent franchises at the Cohen Company's Technology, Media, Telecom conference this week. Quote, "It's obvious that GTA is a permanent franchise. As long as we keep delivering this incredible quality, it seems quite obvious that Red Dead is a permanent franchise, again with the same caveat." So that means, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a Red Dead Redemption type sequel or whatever, some kind of franchise video game in next gen. Are you excited, Dr. Bacon?
I guess. I never played the first one.
What?
The most I ever got was watching that YouTube video of yours where you got mauled by the cougar.
Oh my God, that's old school, man. That's literally the first video I made for this channel, I think.
I know. And I knew from there I'd be hooked onto your YouTube channel.
Well, if you weren't my friend, I'm sure you would probably watch it. Maybe.
Nope.
But I'm excited about this. I mean, if since you haven't played it, I mean, we need more Western in this world. We need more Western video games, movies, comic books, television shows. I love the Wild West. It's just something like, it's one of those fantasy places. I mean, you got pirates, you have ninjas, and you got cowboys. So more power to you. I can't wait to see it on next gen. Here's the thing that the reason why I picked this article. Where does open world gaming go? I think I'm about that point. I mean, Grand Theft Auto's been around for a while, and then because Grand Theft Auto 5, I liked it. It was fine, and just They brought in 3 players.
I think it's all in the approach. Because I never, after playing the third Grand Theft Auto, it got to a point where I felt like I needed the cheat codes in order to progress in the game. So I didn't like it. But playing a game like Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4, I thought they handled open world sandbox platform greatly. I really enjoyed it, and doing Watch Dogs right now, I'm having a great time with that on the PS4. I think it's all in their approach. And kind of to put a little circle on what we've been talking about, when you were saying we need more Western games and all that kind of stuff, to go back to how we're in the golden age of comic books, there was a golden age for Western films too, and eventually they petered out, not because they were running out of good films. They were still making them towards the end, like with Clint Eastwood, Good, Bad, and the Ugly and all that. It's just people were losing interest because there was a new genre taking over, which was all the space age movies. So I think something like that's going to happen with all these comic book movies, where something new is just going to take over, and we're just going to get less comic book movies.
I can tell you this now. It's not going to be video game movies. Video game movies will never take over. I mean, right now I know they keep saying, Uncharted, it's going to come out, and they've announced Last of Us, but I don't think video game movies will ever do it, because video game medium is interactive, and the gamer's experience change. I mean, they can make games more cinematic, just like The Last of Us, but they can never make video games. They can't go the other way. It's a one-way street.
I agree to an extent. Because video games are getting more cinematic, and they're having more of a story that a film can be applied to. But there's the approach they should take is what Wes Anderson originally did not Wes Anderson, dang it, for the Resident Evil franchise. Paul Anderson. Yeah, there's a different way to approach it, like what Paul Anderson did for the first Resident Evil movie. He didn't bring in the original characters. It was the same premise. Everyone knew the same thing. It was the mansion. There were zombies. But what he did with his was he included new characters, so that and the reason he put behind it was he didn't want the video game audience to know what was going to happen to those characters. So they were interested because it's the same idea of that haunted house with the zombies. There's this evil corporation, but it's different characters handling the situation. So we're still getting our video game movie. It's just a whole new film that has nothing to do with those characters. So and look how well it did.
It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Because again, just like balancing comic book fans and the general public, you're gonna make someone upset. I mean, you can't please everybody.
You're absolutely right, Sancho. But look at Batman Begins. That one, there was no comic book storyline it followed. It just took the idea of these Batman origins and the idea of Ra's al Ghul, not Ra's al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, and they made a great movie out of it. That was a tough pitch.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch. All right, next topic we have here, it is some Nintendo news. And I don't have a Wii U yet, but do you have Mario Kart 8?
I do, but I haven't played it yet. I picked it up just yesterday, but I've got a pretty busy schedule. I just started playing Watch Dogs last night. I'm not very good at switching between games. I have to play a game till it's over, and then I can move on to the next one. Otherwise, I just forget about the other game.
So here's the news from Nintendo. They officially licensed an adapter will allow Super Smash Bros. Melee veterans to play the upcoming Wii U version of Super Smash Bros. With the GameCube controller. So this is the thing about Nintendo. I know you've heard me before say this, Dr. Bacon. I know that I want Nintendo to give away its license, but at the same time, I really think Nintendo knows what it's doing. And I think Nintendo is just buying its time because you can't kill Nintendo. It's just like reading Rainbow. It's nostalgic. It's the childhood in us. It's never going to die. Mario will never go away. Mario, Donkey Kong, and Link and all those guys will never go away because it continues to feed more generations. And because we access Nintendo at a young age and new generations are accessing still Nintendo at a young age, this will live forever. And no matter how much money they lose, I'm thinking Nintendo is always going to stick to their guns because they're still making a lot of money in Japan.
No, they may be a little off the mark with some of their products, but their software, they know what they're doing. You know, they've had some not so great games come out, but everything that's been Nintendo, Super Mario, Zelda, Metroid, those have all been good games. When was the last Mario game that you saw got lower than an 8, or the last Zelda game that people said, "Oh, it's a horrible game"? You know, Metroid hasn't even come out with a new game because Nintendo knows, no, we're not going to make it unless we get a company that can make this right and make it a good Metroid game.
I know I want Nintendo to just to give up, but no, it's never going to happen. And what I'm excited for the Smash Bros. Is that they've listened to the fans and they made an official license adapter. That's nice. That's a good play, Nintendo. I mean, I think the more, what's interesting right now with the console wars, just to hit on that, and it's pretty much its own podcast, but what's happening with the console wars is that PlayStation is going a lot more indie, and actually PlayStation is blending into like a PC base. There's a lot of PC games right now on the PlayStation 4, which is good and odd as well. But I'm really thinking that the more they listen to the fans in a way like Nintendo and Sony has, and Microsoft is slowly coming around because they were kind of trying to force us to do what they want. I think it's again where everything is going awesome. Can't deny that.
No, yeah, you're right.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the news. Ooh, man, we went for a good time. This is a good time. Good times all around. I got some quick, this is now the last segment that I have for you, Dr. Bacon. It's called Quick Save Questions. Quick Save Questions. So we talked about the current game in your system right now is Watch Dogs, right? That's good. So what movie you are excited to see upcoming?
Guardians. Can't wait.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I like that. Are you still sold on Bradley Cooper?
I was never not sold on him.
You're a buyer of the Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, who doesn't sound really Australian.
I'm totally behind that.
And you like Bautista or Dave Bautista?
I very much like Dave Bautista. I think that was very good casting. A lot of people had issues with a wrestler coming in, but I was like, the way I approached it, Marvel has made great casting choices since they started back with Iron Man 1. They know what they're doing. I don't think they would have brought in a wrestler if they didn't think they had the right director to get the right performance out of him. All
right, and the last quick save question of the day, any E3 announcements you're looking forward to next week or so?
Actually, no, because I didn't even realize it was around the corner already. You know what? I'll tell you this. I hope we get a new good Silent Hill game.
That's a stretch. That's like a dark horse if that happens. You're shooting for the moon there.
You can always wish. Hey, don't hold me back.
Oh, well, That's a good thing. I'm really trying to get in it, though. I'm really trying to get into E3 for you guys, for the people. So I can let the people know what's happening live on the floor. But I don't know. It's a long shot. I think I became a PlayStation MVP too late, but we'll see what happens. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. This is the first episode, and we're, with crowd fan interaction, we'll keep this going, Dr. Bacon. We'll keep this going. I'm sure the people don't mind. This is a new venture for us. Comment below, hit the share button, and hit the download button on the SoundClouds. You got anything to say before we sign on out, Dr. Bacon?
I was going to say, if you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe, which is share it, like it, and subscribe.
What? What?
Subscribe.
I've never heard of that.
I put it all together in one word. I put it all together in one word so you don't have to waste time. Share it, like it, subscribe.
Like Bem Shmup? Do you know what Bem Shmup means?
No, I don't.
You don't know what Ben Shmup means. It's from Saved by the Bell. It's how he remembers the planets. Now you know Ben Shmup, man.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
All right, guys. Watch Saved by the Bell. It's on Netflix. That's our recommendation for you guys. We're going to keep getting better. Stick with us. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Oh, yeah. Signing out. SanchoWest and Dr. Bacon. Peace.